This is an unnamed mine or prospect. We're looking right up this trench. It's approximately 100 feet long. We're looking northeast. It's about, trend's about north 10 east. One of many trenches and prospect pits along this trend. There's an adit at the southwest end of this trend. I'm just going to lump them all together. They're probably related in one way or another. Again, we're looking right up the trench here. The one that I'm just deciding is going to be the northeast end of it. It'll be number 072501. It's quite a large disturbed area overall on this. There's a kind of a knob where we're right on the edge of, and there's a lot of trenches on around this whole area here. We're not going to really spend a lot of time on all of them. We're just going to kind of pick and choose a few of the larger ones, and then go from there. We're just going to move on down the hill to the northeast and just pick up a couple more prospects on down. There's an adit at the far end. We'll grab it on the way by. Here we're looking southwest from that trench we just filmed. Again, you can see it's quite a heavily prospected area. There's a lot of trenches and pits on this trend. It's probably several hundred feet downhill to the south west where we're looking. There's an adit down at the far end of the area that I'm going to lump together. We'll look at one or two trenches on the way down towards that adit. It's a caved adit that's not very significant, but we'll pick it up at the far end of this and then move on. This is again property number 072501. It's an unnamed prospect. It's probably related to some other ones by name around here, but it's very difficult on the map to tell what is located with what. So this will just be considered an unnamed property. So we'll just move on down the hill. We'll look at a couple of the prospects on the way down. Here's another trench that on this same trend, northeast trend, that we're looking at we looked at it from above. We're looking northwest here along the length of the trench. It's not very significant. You can see it's been disturbed on both sides of it, and then right down the slot of the trench. This will be the last one that we'll see before we get down to the adit that's part of this group. This is 072501-1. I didn't add that -1. That's the first property. So we'll just move on down and do that adit now. Again, this whole area has been extensively prospected, trenched and such, and there's no sense in wasting a lot of film on and time on looking at each one of the prospects. It's just quite a long zone that has been heavily prospected. So we'll move on down to the adit now. Here we're looking southwest at that caved adit that I was speaking of. Is built part of this property 072501-1, which is the first property we're looking at here. We're looking, like I said, southwest at the caved adit. We're on the dump at the far northeast end of the dump. It's been moved around, pushed around by a road that goes through here, but we'll take a look at the kind of a side profile of it to see how big it is. It's not really a huge dump, but it does amount to something, so we'll turn around and take a look at it now. Here we're looking east. Here we're looking east at the profile of the dump that from that adit we just looked at, that 072501-1. There again, you can see the road going off to the east. It's just kind of a secondary road off what I consider the main road on the topo map. Here's the flat out in front of the portal, caved portal. Quite a broad area out here that's been pushed around by the road building and such. You can kind of get an idea. It's only about 100 feet out from the portal right to the lip of the dump, and then it goes quite a long distance downhill spread. It's kind of steep here, so it does travel quite a ways downhill. So this will be it for property 072501-1. What we're looking at here is one of the adits for what I believe is the Pettit group. I don't know an official number for it. I'm just going to designate it 072501-2, be the second property looked at. We're looking almost due south. You can see that the trough up there is the adit is pretty well caved. There is some mine rail out in front of it, a couple small pieces of it, plus some minor scrap metal right out what I perceive as the portal. I'm standing out on the dump to the north of where I believe the caved adit is. We'll turn around now and take a look at and see what the dump looks like. It's a fairly extensive dump. It's about 150 feet long and 50 feet wide. We'll turn around from the portal and look at it. Here we're looking out on the dump for what I believe is one of the adits for the Pettit group. This is, again, I don't know an official number for it. What I'm designating it is 072501-2. We're looking basically north. There's a pile of erosion rolls, erosion prevention rolls. They stretch along the hillside after this burn in the area. They've been stockpiled on the dump here. It's quite an extensive dump. It's 150 feet or so long. It's got a trench going down through it on the far side over there. You can see it kind of in the distance. We'll get a look at it going down the hill. It's probably not all that deep. It's on a fairly steep hill, and so it does scatter quite a long distance down. So we'll get a profile of it looking east now and just get a feel for how big it is. Here we're looking east at one of the adits for the Pettit group, what I believe is the Pettit group. I don't know how many adits there are for this group of claims or whatever it is, mine. We're looking at a profile of the dump now as it stretches downhill. It's quite extensive down the hill, but it's not all that deep, maybe 20 or so feet at the most, right in the thickest part, right there, just where the flat breaks. Again, you can see the erosion rolls on the dump there that we had seen before, kind of stockpiled on the one end of the dump, and there's a trench going down, cutting through the dump. You can see those erosion barriers down, kind of stretched across the hillside. See how they have laid them there perpendicular to the slope of the hill after the burn just to prevent erosion. So this will be it for the Pettit group, and I'm just designating it 072501-2 just as the second property looked at today. Again, I don't know how many adits there are on this group. We'll just continue on whichever ones we find and just call them, part of the Pettit or whatever they will be. This is another adit, small adit, caved of course, for the Pettit group. We're looking about south into the cave trench where the adit used to be. I'm standing out on the dump kind of to the north of that. It's real small adit. Like I said, I believe it's part of the Pettit group. I'm not sure. It might be part of the old Chuck claims. It's real confusing. There's so many little dog holes and adits in this area, but we'll consider it the Pettit group, and the number I've assigned it is 072501-2. It's just a continuation of the number 2 that I've been calling here. So like I said, we're looking south at it. We'll turn around and look at the dump, maybe, and get a profile of the dump just to get a feel for how big it is. Here we're looking west at this small adit for the Pettit group, 072501-2. You can see the dump. It's goes out about 50 feet on the flat, and then it goes gradually down the hill. The slope distance is probably in the neighborhood of 30 or 40 feet possibly. It stretches down a ways. You can see the light colored material stretching quite a ways down. It's not a very big dump, so the adit was probably not very big. We're right along an old drill road or logging road or some such to get access in here. So again, we're looking west at this, kind of a profile of the dump at this. We'll go down there's one more lower one to the north of us, and we'll go down and get it now, and it'll also be part of the Pettit group. This is another adit for the Pettit group, I believe. There's an awful lot of them in this area. I'm not real sure if this is it, if it's a Pettit group or not. I'm just designating it 072501-2 right now, just to give it a number to ID it. I'm not sure what the official number is. So we're looking southwest at the caved portal. You can see burn trees in the vicinity of it. We're out on the dump here. It's about 60 feet long and maybe at the most 20 feet wide. We'll turn around and get a look coming out from the cave portal there to get a feel for what the dump looks like. Here we're looking out on the dump, looking northeast at the dump for one of the Pettit group adits. It's probably about 60 feet out there to just about where my pack is on the far side, and it may be at the most 20 feet wide. It's not a very big dump, a bit bigger than the one we'd looked at before to the south. But so we'll get a profile look, and then that will be it for these edits. Here we are again looking at the one of the very small adits for the Pettit group, I believe it is, 072501-2. I'm looking right about where the caved adit is right here. We'll pan across kind of to the north and see a profile for the dump. The lighter colored material there is all dump material. It's scattered quite a ways down the hill, but it's not that big of a dump really. It's a steep hill. There's another drill road down below that just cuts off the nose of the dump. So this will be it for this adit for the Pettit group 072501-2. This is the third adit in what I'm calling the Pettit group, at least the third adit. I don't know, there's maybe more here that's still, I'm designating it 072501-2. I lack another number to call it. You can see that we're looking right on an old drill road bank, and there's virtually no evidence of the portal and the adit here. You can kind of get a feel looking at it that there's a scarp up there where it is caved, but the road is dug back in there and it's caved down enough that there's virtually no evidence of the adit. The only thing that keyed it off as an adit here is a dump that I'm standing on. It's kind of to the northeast, and we'll take a look at that now just to see. It's a fairly small dump, as most of them along here are. Here we're looking northeast at that small dump I just looked at. It's the third adit, the northernmost one. I believe it's pretty small. Again, here's the road with those erosion barriers in it. The adit presumed location would be right in this area, right on the road bank, into the road bank, and there's really nothing there to really say where it is. It's totally collapsed and covered up there, so there's no hole or anything open. So this will be it for this portion of the Pettit group, and it's 072501-2.